Hello everyone, my name is Chris Titley and welcome to the FinTech Australia podcast. The FinTech Australia podcast takes listeners on a deep dive across the FinTech industry in Australia, focusing on the challenges, opportunities and big stories our community faces. Let's get to today's episode. Hi, it's Chris Titley here. As part of the FinTech Australia podcast Business Spotlight series, I'm joined by Sivan Atad, founder of nVest. Sivan, thank you so much for being part of this series.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Great to be here.
Now, Sivan, you are an esteemed guest as you won this prize at a recent pitch night. We'll get into that further on into the podcast, so congratulations. But firstly, I'd love the listeners out there to understand a little bit about you and also what nVest is.
Sure thing. Yeah, the pitch event was pretty exciting. A bit about myself. So if I go way back, then I'm originally from Israel and I've been in Australia for about 18 years and pretty much been working in finance tech from almost day one. I remember when I arrived in Australia in 2005, after just a quick course, I was already sold as a consultant to Westpac and CBA and NZ. And actually did quite a few years on that side in consulting, but really always wanted to do building things from the ground up and being involved on all the excitement that coming up with ideas and bringing them to life. And finally had the courage to get into that a few years ago. And I've founded so far 3 startups and I've played a leadership role in a few others. And it's been a fantastic journey so far in, evolving and learning how to do things, way beyond just building technology, but building businesses and teams. And I think that moving into the entrepreneurial world and startups has really accelerated my learnings in many, many ways and led to the launch of nVest just over a year ago.
Fantastic, mate. And in regards to what nVest is, you've obviously identified a gap in the market or a product that potentially doesn't exist, and now you're putting the foot down. Do you want to give everyone a bit of an understanding about how the product and platform works?
Yeah, nVest is quite an ambitious project to innovate and disrupt in the investment technology space. We set ourselves some goals initially to be the first B2B provider for fractional trading in Australia, fractional trading of stocks and ETFs. And that's one of the headline goals that we set. But generally speaking, we want to help democratize access for investing and help Australian build their wealth and do it with lower risk and with lower barriers. And not just in Australia, so in general, be enabling retail investors and professionals who manage the investment for them to be able to provide better products and better outcomes, and doing that on an infrastructure play. So we build it once and many can benefit from it, whether it is companies or enterprises. And in the process of looking at what it involves to bring fractional trading to Australia, I guess for context, there are different variations of how you can remove barriers for investing, and some of them already exist, which is the form of micro investing and how you can do that with, managed funds and
ETFs,
legal structures.
Yep.
Yeah. Fractional trading is providing access to the stocks in real time and real price and enabling someone to buy as low as 1 cent in that stocks. So in the journey of looking at what it involves to introduce that to a market like Australia and the ASX, we actually found that the foundations were not there to add this just as a feature, but we actually had to dig deep and build quite a lot of other capabilities that helps modernize the infrastructure to get to that point where you can do things like fractional trading or even more generally create a fully digital, fully automated solution for investing in those markets. Some companies already solve this type of problem on a B2C, but we're doing that as a B2B so that we can build it once and many can benefit from it. And I should say, we didn't come up with something new here, right? So there are markets, the US and in Europe, where this type of capability already exists. Fractional trading is available in the US from 2019, 2020, with the big brokers there and a few B2Bs and B2Cs have implemented this capability. And then, pretty much today, you have very accessible options and many use cases that you can create for US stock trading. But you don't have that yet for Australian stocks, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from putting my old financial broker hat on. You're buying. I remember, the classic case was Berkshire Hathaway, which was sort of $500,000 US a share, and then they did a share split or a Class A share, and it became 20,000 or whatever it might be a share, and then it became more accessible for people to do that. And then you've seen stocks that have got a high share price like CSL and Macquarie. High being numerical, not in terms of financial advice, but $300 and $200 or $150, etc. As an investor out there, yes, I'd love to have access to more of those types of shares, but I'm really curious as to know how it works. Would the broker be the customer for you, or would I be the customer for you? Or both?
So I guess our customers are wealth techs and fintechs that wants to introduce investment capabilities into their apps.
Gotcha.
And we work with the existing brokers in the market to provide access. So the brokers don't necessarily need to have the fractional capabilities. They don't need to also introduce any sort of a custodian model. So we basically enable them to bring that capability and then offer to the end customer, to offer to the B2Cs the product with lower barriers. Things like fractional trading. So being able to buy the CSL and then nominate that you want to buy 1 cent of it or $1,000 exactly to the cent, as well as being able to nominate a quantity, and that can be fractional, that can be whole share. It's really flexible in what you can actually do with it, and the idea is that we don't just enable fractionalization. We enable no minimums and no fixed cost on a transaction, which is the key here, right? So if today you're trading on apps, and most of the apps in Australia have a $500 minimum, and typically their brokerage fees range, the fixed part of the brokerage fee ranges between $3 and $15 as a minimum. That really prevents both the apps creators introducing innovative use cases, as well as the end customer, which is the retail investor, to be able to build diversified portfolios and to build their wealth gradually, investing smaller amounts at a time, more frequently, as well as creating even complicated portfolios and managing them for the customers without requiring very large portfolio size. Things like direct indexing and model portfolios typically require $200,000 minimum investment size, right? So that you can make it worthwhile to operate that type of product. But with what we are doing, it really reduces the barriers so that you can have those distributed portfolios, and you can do that at minimal cost.
And Sivan, I'm curious to know about the use cases on the back of that. I mean, one that comes to mind is for me to potentially, give a couple of bucks a week or something to my kids and put some shares into the shares that I want to be put into, as opposed to maybe someone telling me or a basket of technology stocks. Whereas, maybe my 8-year-old wants to buy some Disney shares because they love Disney, for instance, and I could do that on substitute the old pocket money.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great for first-time investors, or if you are doing, like you said, the investing for building investing accounts for your kids. It also allows for interesting use cases when you embed investing into an app. For example, if you embed it into a banking app and you want to make it really seamless in the way that you are creating the account and investing, and you can define your portfolio in the very beginning. So for example, using our platform can enable a bank to introduce something like a savings style account that can be created in a few clicks, and you define which ETF or set of ETFs and stocks the money will be invested into. And from that point onwards, you could literally invest in smaller amounts, or you can start doing things like salary splitting or roundups or ad hoc investments, but basically be able to obfuscate the way that the actual investment mechanics happen, and actually focus more on the dollar amount of how much you want to invest, money in and money out.
Fantastic, mate. And we did touch on earlier on that you did take the first prize recently at the SmartCompany installment of the pitch, which is an early stage startup competition, which you were named the winner. Can you talk about the evening and also how your pitch went, how you thought so, and also the prizes at the end of it all?
Yeah, so that was last week, Thursday. It was a pretty big day for us. We started the day with announcing the launch of our sandbox, and something that we obviously been working for quite a few months, well, just over a year. And then in the evening, we attended the pitch event, and we were selected, I think, out of 250 startups.
Oh, wow.
And we were the 6th finalists that pitched on the event, and it was really, really fun night. There were lots of people from the startup ecosystem and quite a few, specifically on the FinTech side, and really amazing judges from, I think, X15 and BlueRock and AWS and AdaTree. And I think that's what we pitched and how we position our offering and enabling enterprises and companies democratize access to stock markets, and doing that as a concept that can apply to different markets and different asset classes, really landed well with the judges. And there were some amazing startups that pitched alongside us, and really interesting products. And we were lucky to be selected as the winners, but it could go really the way. I think it was just a great opportunity for us to pitch, and in front of companies like AWS, where we already have great relationship with them, but really be able to sort of pitch about how what we are building is great in creating scalable solutions that can be used by companies with millions of customers. I think it landed pretty well.
Fantastic. And also on that, as part of the prize, I think AWS is sponsoring, you received a $100,000 boost in AWS credits, as well as consultancy services from BlueRock, and obviously this podcast. What do you think of the prizes, mate, and how's that going to help you?
Oh, it's amazing. I think, look, we are building a lot of complex technology that is not cheap to run, and we're already seeing our AWS bills going up every month, and I think that's even just with running a sandbox. So I think that we want to build a lot of capabilities, and we're using AWS quite extensively, even some of their native capabilities. So it's fantastic to get that. To me, it is literally worth just as much as getting money in the bank, because we are going to spend that very quickly, and I think we're going to do that by enabling more business for our customers. So it's great.
Awesome, mate. And just putting the hat on for 12 months time, and where you want to be in the short to medium term. What's the next stage of iteration of growth for nVest?
Yeah, good question. I think we are naturally keen to get from 0 to 100 in no time, but it is unfortunately that we have to do it one step at a time. And the first step was to launch our sandbox, and the next step will be over the next few weeks and months. We are onboarding companies of all sizes into the sandbox, and we're doing workshops with them. We are basically designing the future of investing in Australia, and we're already talking to some global players as well. So ideally, within the next 12 to 24 months, we will see us launching together with partners that provide investment capabilities within their apps for millions of customers. It's some of the, I guess, like milestones that we have to hit along this journey. We are we already have a team that's been working on this project, some of them for 12 months now. And we had quite a unique model of how we're doing that with people that have a day job in some of the most successful companies in Australia. And this is their passion project, and they dedicate quite a lot of their time to help us both on the tech side and the non-technical side to advance this project.
There you go, mate. Don't tell their employers. Maybe their employers know that. If not, we'll keep them anonymous for the time being, mate. Thank you so much for giving us an understanding of nVest, and congratulations recently on that award and also that boost that you got through AWS. Certainly an interesting time when it comes to investing and also micro-investing and democratizing the investment theme on a global basis. I wish you all the well and congratulations on what you've achieved thus far, and look forward to catching up.
Thanks for us, Chris.
Thanks for listening to the FinTech Australia podcast. I'm your host, Chris Titley. The FinTech Australia podcast is a collaboration between FinTech Australia and Sub11. For more information about membership options, news and the events coming up, jump on to the FinTech Australia website. Have a great day. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.